Self-love seems elusive most times. It's hard to know what it is exactly or what that looks like until you have it. Today, we are going to break it down into a couple of simple actions and some extra awareness or consciousness that you didn't have before. It's not as hard as it seems, and it no longer has to be frustrating. Stay tuned. Before I get into the good stuff, we have to step back a little. We're stepping back to the barriers to self-love. The first one is what we are taught when we are little kids. Every child is different, and that means everyone expresses themselves differently. If you were given a childhood where your own expression was welcomed, where you were encouraged to be yourself, then self-love would have been intact all along. This is what I call your inner light. It's everything that is magical about you. Oftentimes, though, childhood homes are not that encouraging. They don't encourage you to be you. You're actually shamed for it instead. A lot of parents carrying their own trauma inside of them, they don't know how to be the parent that would bring out the best in you. They may have been taught not to be themselves, shamed for who they are. So when you are 3, 4, or 5 years old, it begins. The shaming of you and your personality that begins to come to life. This could be anything from you being told you were too loud when you were happy, told not to cry when you were sad, that you couldn't be artistic because hobbies are too expensive and you can't make any money for them when you grow up, something you really shouldn't worry about when you're a child, or that you were too fat, or maybe even you shouldn't try gymnastics because you can't ever achieve anything from that. Maybe in your parents' mind, the Olympics were too far out of reach, and again, since there's no purpose to it, you couldn't even do it just to have fun. Whatever it was that your parents may have taken away from you, what was coming up inside of you that were your desires and your dreams, and somehow they shut them down. All your hopes and dreams for yourself fly out the window, and the programming begins. The programming of limiting beliefs is what I'm talking about. It plays over and over again in your thoughts without control. You may think, I'd like to change this about myself. And the limiting belief is right behind it saying you can't. It's a record that plays and you can't seem to get it to stop. What happens then is your light gets more and more dim. For a lot of you, you split off and hide the beautiful things about yourself. You do this in order to please others, and you may not even realize you are doing it. It is a built-in survival technique that is part of you. How does this play out? Well, you start to believe that everyone else knows what they are doing in life and that you have no clue. So you may start taking advice from people that is bad for you. Why? Because you lost your natural discernment. Your discernment is your own intuition. There is no one that knows what is better for you than you. But when you are taught otherwise, you abandon yourself and allow others to make choices for you, or even think for you. Want to know how dangerous this can get? Look at Britney Spears. Why did it take a public outcry and protests to start the process to get her out of the conservatorship? Because what happened is that she couldn't see a way out, even though there always was one. other people over the years taught her just enough that she was not in control of her life. It can be hard to break free of something like that. Then later in life, add in jealousy from others anytime you try to better yourself, specifically in your mission to love yourself. Somehow they're able to sense you getting on a new path and don't like that because that doesn't work well for them. Maybe you're a doormat for them, or maybe they like being the ones in control. And so therefore, they're going to discourage you changing or stepping into self-love. What it looks like on the outside is you can't do that, be that, or maybe they just even say, I could never do that. And then your light dims again. The second barrier to self-love is how your life has formed since all of this has happened. How did your life turn out with all that limited programming? Are you in the career you want to be in? Have you found your purpose? Are you living in the city or country that you want to be living in? Are you surrounded by people that are good for you, people that lift you up? Or does your life look more like this? I wish I had my own business. I wish I was living in the south of France. I wish I worked out more. I wish I could write a book that I've wanted to write for years. What exactly is holding you back from any of that? Because the universe is abundant and willing to give you everything that you want. I'm not saying that it won't test you. It definitely will test you in the path of getting what you desire. But the world and the opportunities we have living here are bigger than your field of vision. So how come you don't know about all of that? Because you were taught to think that way. Remember when you were told to quiet your beautiful childhood personality? Yep. That was you being told to keep your full expression, your visions, and most importantly, your self-love down. If you are continuously told that you are wrong, you inherit the belief that everything is wrong with you. How can you love yourself when everything is wrong? More importantly, let me ask you a question here. If your life has been designed around what other people saw for you and not what you saw for yourself, wouldn't it make sense that you don't love that, therefore you don't love yourself? Because if your life doesn't match what's inside of you, how can you love it? Therefore, everything that you're experiencing every minute of every day isn't matching up with what you love about yourself, what's been stuffed down deep inside of you. But see, this isn't your fault. And before you know that, it harms your self-love even more. Because if you can't love yourself, well, just add it to the list of things that you can't do right. And now you feel even worse. So step number 1, tell yourself right now that you are not the reason that you don't love yourself. And remove any shame or blame that is directed at you. Having this awareness will allow your inner love to get just a little flicker of light again. And now we can go from there. Let's step back to where I was talking about where you live your life and your career and other parts that make up your life. What is not in check? What is not matching with your want and desire for your life? Now really think about it. Are you where you are because that's how your parents were or what they wanted from you? Do you live in the same place where they planted you during childhood, but maybe you've spent the last 15 years wanting to be somewhere else? Name all the things that don't match up between your life and your desires. See, oftentimes we are just subconsciously floating through life, the life that someone else planned for us. But during this video, we are switching on the conscious part of your brain. This is the part of your brain that doesn't have the programming. This is where the changes take place. All you have to do is keep engaging it so that it can override the subconscious. The subconscious brain is the opposite. No changes occur here. It just keeps the programming stored, the programming that you kept from the first 20, 30, or 40 years of your life. The good news is that you can reprogram it, rewire it, and no, it won't take another 20 years to do so. But here is where the action comes in. You have to pick something and work towards changing it. Now, what does this all have to do with self-love? Let me tell you, we are bringing your light back to life. Of course, you won't love yourself if you are a version of you that someone else designed. You love your light that is underneath. That is who you really love and that you've loved all along. See, that never really actually disappeared. It just got stuffed down somewhere. It's been hidden from you, hidden from the world. Today, we begin to bring that out. Can you see your light now? Can you see how it got dimmed? Well, guess what? You are no longer a child. You are an adult, free to express who you really are. We are going to talk about change in a moment, but first I want to speak about how society makes you not love yourself. Have you ever noticed how your bank account can't seem to keep up with all the things that are expected of us as humans on this planet? Well, that is because our lives have much been designed around how the elite can make money off of us. Let me give you an example. Weight loss programs, very specifically popular this time of year. The mere fact that these exist pulls you away from self-love. It's already telling you that you aren't good enough. Better join that program and lose 15 pounds. But what if you didn't have to live that way? Do you all realize that your body is just an avatar that you picked before incarnating here? Your soul took immense joy in picking out your avatar. To your soul, you are beautiful or handsome, and so is every other avatar walking this planet. That is the deepest kind of love, your own soul love. The soul doesn't know any other way, but then you come to planet Earth and the Matrix and you are introduced to other humans, such as the Kardashians. They are part of the elite and part of the trick. Their entire existence, the hundreds of hours put into making them look the way they do, is all a machine to make you want to look as beautiful as they do. That's directed at women, but for the men, they also see this and subconsciously think that all women should look that way. Why does society shame us this way? Because it generates money. Instead of people saving money for a house or a vacation or what they truly desire, they spend it on the latest fashion trend, purse, shoes, makeup. You can't not watch an influencer these days without purchasing what they are pushing. I know, because I had to put a block on a lot of them myself. Don't believe me? How many of you out there bought a Kylie lip kit? Kylie Jenner has had a staff master plan her transformation from what society would call an average woman or girl to now what every man lusts after. And she's a billionaire off of it. A billionaire made off of making other women feel bad about themselves, that they need her makeup. Do you think your soul understands any of that? Absolutely not. Because Kylie Jenner is a Matrix-created NPC, and she doesn't have self-love at all. If she did, she wouldn't have needed to change her lips and her butt. she would have stayed just as her soul had created her. But she was brought up in a family who didn't teach her self-love. You guys, if you want self-love, you are going to have to reject all of that. And you know how everyone says you should say, I am enough, or I am good enough. It's the latest buzz phrases that seem to be going around. I'll actually want you to go ahead and throw all of that out too. You are love, full expression, full light, and full love, not just enough. You are everything. Whoever told you that you weren't didn't know what they were talking about. So if you are weighing yourself every day on a scale, stop. Because all that is doing is generating old beliefs. Beliefs about yourself that need to end today. Instead, just find food that you like to eat. Add in some healthy stuff. If you eat pizza one day, that's okay. Then add in an avocado the next. Then add in some exercise that you like to do. Don't train for a marathon if you don't like running. Do some Pilates mat exercises or yoga or something like that that you like to do. And yoga isn't easy, by the way. It can get really challenging. So if you like that, it can get you fully in shape. You won't need anything else. There's no need to pound the pavement and ruin your joints doing something you don't want to do. Do you see what is happening here? You are choosing the real you. And when you do that, how can you not love yourself? Do a hobby you like for some creativity. Consider changing jobs or starting your own business. And make sure you live in a city, town, or a place that inspires you. By doing all of this, your inner glow returns. You won't have to try to love yourself anymore. It will just be there every day when you wake up. And on top of that, you will set boundaries easier because you'll want to protect what you have created. You'll never let anyone or anything take that from you again. If you like my content, please comment, like, and subscribe. Also, there's a little thanks button right below the video where you can donate some funds to help me keep this channel going. I love all of you, and I'll see you in the next video.